and I can share it with all of you. I'll send it to you, Ophir. I'll send it to you. On the 13th of June, I terminated my contract because at that point I had seen not just the death of Amir, but also UG Solutions people, UG Solutions, not Hamas or blame it on the IDF or whatever. UG Solutions personnel on 2 occasions. One time used a stun grenade that killed a woman on the site. Another time shooting at the population and severely wounded and or killed, I think he was dead, a Palestinian man. So there was that incident and another incident and another incident. And I brought each of these to the attention of the leadership. It became clear to me that it's not because they could not fix it. It's because they didn't want to. So on the 13th of June, I tendered my resignation. I said, here you go. I can't do this anymore. But what I want everybody to also know, hear it from me, is that when I tendered that resignation, I wasn't going home. I wasn't quitting the effort to feed the civilians. I just couldn't do it as an armed contractor giving food at the barrel of a gun and being complicit in the war crimes that I saw. I couldn't be a part of that. I tendered my resignation, and I was going to then stay to work with other organizations to help them with planning and operations and use my expertise to help them to deliver aid in a humanitarian way. So anybody out there that says that I was fired, garbage. In fact, UG Solutions on 3 occasions promoted me and gave me 3 raises while we were there. Because to your point before, you remember you made the discussion that Jake Wood stepped down on the 26th. He was like, I don't want to be a part of this. On the 27th, the number 2 guy in charge in Israel, the number 2 man in charge, resigned, quit. He's like, I can't be a part of this anymore. So UG Solutions comes to me and they offered me that job. So I was not fired. I ran their operations. They relied on me for everything. And at every step of the way, when I provided a recommendation, they wouldn't implement it. And the reason they wouldn't implement the recommendation is because it cost money. They don't want to cut away from the bottom line of their profit. It's about money. So I could no longer be a part of that. I tendered my resignation. And Ophir, I'll send you that letter. I tendered my resignation in writing. And my hope and desire was to work for another entity, but then on the 13th, Iran started the war, and things kind of changed. So I was ultimately not able to do that. But yeah, I was not fired. Quite the opposite. I was promoted 3 times, and I tendered my resignation on my own. I resigned because I could not be a part of it anymore.
I want to add just about, I don't know anything about UG Solutions. Apparently you didn't when you were hired.
I didn't either. I still don't know much.
Right. So I just want to add for the public here who will be watching, we know very little about the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. It seemed to have been cut out of whole cloth magically. We know that the Boston Consulting Group had something to do with it. Apparently, that's right. But not just stepped away, they fired and are investigating.
Yeah, and condemned it.
That's right. So they felt tricked by some of their own senior consultants who they felt deceived them about the extent of their involvement in this. And we also don't know much about the funding behind this. In Israel, this entire entity is really referred to with a lot of caution, I have to say, because nobody knows where it came from, what it is. You seem to be describing a front organization, incompetently run, with, doing the bidding of politicians far away. This is a story as old as humanity.
It is, and that's why I'll say it on the record coming from my mouth. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is a front for rich people to get richer, to take the need of starving people, put it under the facade of a get rich fast scheme with zero concern about how the quality of the mission's being done, because they're getting paid, and that's what they care about.
Are you talking about the contract? Those people under contract for them? Who's getting rich here?
So Safe Reach Solutions, UG Solutions, they're for profit. They're not there as an NGO. They are for profit businesses, and they are in this for the money. And even like to SRS, who's in charge of the overall contract, things brought to their attention like, this is a war crime. Well, the IDF are fine with it, so it's not on us. I'm like, what? Like, yes, it is. Like I'm telling you that the world is starting to pay attention. And when this box gets opened up, it's going to be real ugly. And as Americans and as Israelis, we have the opportunity now to raise our hand and say, that is wrong, because reckoning is coming. And if we don't put a stop to this, and if we don't collectively say this is wrong, we are responsible. And when that day of reckoning comes, when the rest of the world looks at how horrible this is, we're responsible if we don't do something about it now.
I want to quote one of my most esteemed colleagues, Nir Hasson, who writes for Haaretz, who tweeted not that long ago, after one of these catastrophic incidents that you're just describing, he said, one day, not too far off, the term "we pulled a GHF" is going to be used to describe creating a disaster.
Yes, actually, funny. I actually use that term. Like if I make a mistake, I said I just UG'd it, because yeah, you are exactly correct. It's going to be a term, a meme term when you mess something up really bad. You GHF'd it.
Okay, it's devastating, and I just came. I'm just. I told you, Anthony, yesterday when I talked 2 days ago. As a Jew and as someone that had grandparents, my grandma survived the Holocaust. There was a term in that we appreciated so much the people who saved even one Jew. It was called the righteous. It's basically the term is the righteous among the nations. And I don't know if what you have been doing by telling the story, going to Congress and put yourself in the front. I'm sure it's risky, and I'm sure it's. I hope that your family is safe, and I hope that we could actually do something good by bringing your voice. I don't know. We are going to try and do whatever we can to stop this war and bring all the hostages home. And if we could dismantle Hamas, we could. But after 18 months, it's clear that it's not being done in the right way. So we need to end the war and bring everyone home and solve the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Any last words?
The thing is that I know that we can do better, and I know that we can address this problem in a humane way. But we have to make the choice to do that. It's not going to happen on its own.
And we already see the government now understanding and trying to do humanitarian ceasefires and whatever. So we both, when we say we, Israel government, and we are saying usually we're not our government, but obviously the government of Israel now understand that they did both mistake, and they're probably trying to fix it. But on the same time, we hear the ministers that are just saying, posting photos of the new Riviera and not even talking about the humane problem.
I would like to say something just to wrap it up. At the end of the day, in every country that is defined as a democracy, it's the government that gives the orders to the military, right? And in Israel, that relation between military and government right now is in a profound crisis. As, by the way, Anthony, it was as if you knew about what happened today in Israel. 3 soldiers from an elite unit from the Nachal Brigade who served more than a year in Gaza and reported that they were on the verge of breakdown and requested psychological help were instead sentenced to military prison today. This became a big scandal in Israel. Eventually, that decision was reversed and they were instead reprimanded by the commander. But I just want to give everyone here an idea of how deep the crisis is for these conscripted soldiers who are 18 years old and receiving orders. And I also want to say, in terms of living in a free society where we still have the right to vote, the government of Israel today is represented by people who not that long ago, just 2 years ago, were far beyond the political pale. One former head of the Mossad described Netanyahu's ministers as being the equivalent of the KKK, and he has a very serious point. And I'm saying this simply that elections have consequences. And I think that a significant part of what we just heard Anthony describe, and despite the horrors, I feel like we had the honor of hearing you describe this, is a result of irresponsible, inexperienced fanatics who were elected to office for politicized reasons and in many cases, under false pretenses. And I think that's one of the messages that we should take home from this truly horrific testimony that we've been privileged to hear.